Go live on 9:30 a.m. The Answer's Pro Wrestling Show, San Antonio Wrestling Showcase with Dan Cialana.
Yeah. Talking wrestling. But first, rest in peace, Bob Saget.
Oh, man.
Oh, my God.
What a shocker.
What a shocker. Bob Saget.
I grew up watching Full House. And I mean, just like a lot of people did. And I mean, what a shocker. Gone too soon, definitely.
Rest in peace, Bob Saget. And that voice you hear, my tag team partner tonight, Oscar Zamaron.
Yes, absolutely.
Yes, I did it right. From the wrestling shop, Rolling Oaks Mall, huge wrestling fan. And you have a big event coming up next weekend. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But Oscar, you and I last night were at a very special show, Hybrid School of Wrestling. It was my first time there. Epic show, Hybrid School of Wrestling. What did you think of the show last night with all the students from Hybrid?
It is fantastic. I mean, if you guys don't know about Hybrid, go check them out on social media. The site alone, Dan, you're walking into this place, multiple rings. It looks like a performance center. I mean, the place is run and operated by Chris Marvel. Sho Funaki's there as well, coaching. Indeed. Yes, absolutely. What a great well-oiled machine that they're running over there in Hybrid.
Good time. So fun show last night. And somebody that I'm always impressed. I saw him there last night. And somebody, Khan, that is a guy who's got that presence. Oh my God, we got to get Khan in here sometime.
He's a star,
because
sure.
Khan, this guy walks in the room and this guy will make you faint. This is a scary guy, a very frightening man. And he's going to be at the RCW show coming up in February 6th. Hope to be there to see Khan. But hey, tell us about next weekend at the wrestling shop or at the Rolling Oaks Mall there. You got a big event. Tell us about what you got going on.
Saturday, January the 15th, Rolling Oaks Mall, starting at 12 o'clock noon. Bell time is at 1. We're having a cosplay contest as well, Dan. Dress as your favorite wrestler for a chance to win a $100 gift card from the wrestling shop. I have a bunch of other surprises, giveaways like no other. You know how I do it.
Yeah.
It's going to be big.
Surprises.
It's going to be crazy. It's going to be fantastic. For those who attend, go out there, have some fun. That's the main thing, and that's the whole goal behind this event, Dan.
See, Shamaya, I've decided that Oscar's my new hype man because he was hyping me up before the show. You would have thought I was about to box someone, man. Oscar hyped me up. He was being my coach, my counselor, my pastor. He was being everything all at once. You're an inspiring guy. You have fun. And what's more fun than owning a wrestling shop with wrestling toys and championship belts and everything? So let's take us back to your origin story, Oscar. How and when did you decide that, you know what, I'm going to do it. I'm going to open up a wrestling shop.
It was, we opened it in October 2010. Before that, though, I mean, there was a lot of people that were very instrumental for me to actually going out there and doing it. My brother-in-law, I remember he was mainly the one who just implanted that in my head. And he would always tell me, if you're going to do something, what do you love to do? And I was like, man, I love pro wrestling, but I respect everybody that goes in that ring, man, because those hits and when you're performing in that ring, I mean, my goodness, that's you're elite caliber athlete once you're in there, because it's a whole another ball game once you're inside that ring. So mad respects for everybody that laces up a pair of boots and goes in that ring and performs. I love wrestling. I knew that I wanted to be a part of it, but I said, you know, what can I do that involves like something that I could be doing, like a constant thing and not wrestling, right? So, it's crazy because I remember I was watching a Monday Night Raw, and I said to myself, it was like a record of attendance crowd, right? And I said to myself, man, those guys, they love this product. I love this product, and I saw people wearing like T-shirts of wrestling, and I was like, man, I want to be a part of that. I want to be contributing to that. How can I do that? How do I open up a quote unquote wrestling shop? It's never been done before. I've never heard of anything like that. So you're presenting this idea
because we've heard of toy stores that have like wrestling stuff.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Or accessories, but I've never before your shop. I had never heard as well as like a shop dedicated to wrestling.
Well, the idea was simple in my head is bringing something of an experience, like a wrestling shop experience, right? I want people to go in there and you're going to see championship belts, action figures that you've never seen before. We even cater to custom made action figures, so things like that weren't really like available or anything. I just created this in my head and I started to visualize it and wanting to move. But ultimately, you have to make the decision, take action for things, because you can have the dream, right? But if you don't establish the plan, if you don't take action doing it, then it's just going to stay the dream. And I mean, I want to make it happen, man. And then January the 15th, we're going to make that show happen as well. Originally, it was going to be called Brawl at the Mall.
Yeah.
And when we got the green light with it, let me tell you something. It's a little bit.
I've seen some brawls at the mall. Usually it's an Ingram Mall, right?
Right.
That's a different kind of thing.
So this is a little bit of an exclusive piece right here. And I haven't answered this question. They've asked me, like, why did you change the name? Brawl at the Mall sounds fantastic. So here's a little bit of exclusivity, right? Everything was going great. We're moving forward with it. Corporate goes to the mall. The management is telling them about it, and they're like, we love the idea. The name. It sounds too violent. And I was like, I was surprised it was approved in the first place.
Right.
So, but we won't let that be a problem, And immediately I just started to write down a bunch of like ideas. And
you're like mall.
Yeah,
wrestling,
one of them was actually going to be called Mall Mania. Mall Mania.
Or the Mall for All instead of the Brawl for All.
Mall for All. That sounds cool too, man.
But you got Butterbean come out.
But the response was like, we don't want anything that has to do with the name mall.
Right.
So I was like, okay.
Nothing equating violence in our mall, in our business.
Right. So I kid you not, Dad. I literally went like that, and there was a sign that from the video game, from the 1991 video game, WrestleFest. And I go, hey, we're gonna go ahead and call it Wrestling Shop Presents WrestleFest. Oh my gosh, we love the name WrestleFest. I was like, oh, okay,
man.
WrestleFest.
You might have called it Super Tape. You remember Super Tape?
No,
but I remember WrestleFest, like WrestleFest '91.
Yeah,
getting out on VH1 with the Ultimate Warrior on it. Yeah, that's good stuff. That's good. Okay, so you got calling it WrestleFest.
We're calling it WrestleFest.
The mall. They love approval. They love it. So tell us about the matches you got going on next week at WrestleFest.
So this is interesting, Dan, because we're bringing in different promotions. I reached out to so many different promotions. By the way, shout out and a huge thank you for the ones that said no, because without you, we wouldn't be able to do this show. Thank you so much for the ones that said, no, I don't want to be a part of it. Thank you so much for the ones that said, it'll never work, because this Saturday, we're going to make it happen.
So there's some people said no to you.
Oh my gosh. That's a whole nother,
it's a whole nother show.
Yeah. But
it'll be on the bonus material.
But I'll tell you what, and here's the thing for everybody that's listening to this. If you have an idea in your head, and if you want to make it happen, don't depend and don't rely on anybody. You go out there and you do it. No matter what the circumstances is, if you believe that in your heart, go out there and do it. We're on planet Earth for a very limited time. We were just talking about this.
Tell you, man, Shemai is my hype guy.
Just go out there and do it.
This is my hype man.
Go out there and do it.
Oscar from the Wrestling Shop. You hear on San Antonio Wrestling Showcase. We talk professional wrestling both locally and nationwide.
Right.
Here every Sunday night on 9:30 The Answer. But I'm going to be out there next week at Rolling Oaks Mall. It's a free event, right?
Absolutely.
Okay. Is there any? I know you maybe can't show your hand here. You can't be biased, but is there any matches you're looking forward to kind of the most?
My goodness, there's a lot of dream matches that are going to be taking place. Gulf Coast Wrestling is taking a fantastic championship match. We have the Laredo is bringing in some talent. My goodness, Dallas is bringing in some talent. Corpus, Laredo. what a beautiful time. My goodness. What a great time to be in wrestling. And quite frankly, I think this is the first time that we unite all these different promotions together from Texas, and we're actually doing this and making this happen. I had never heard of anything like that. And originally, though, Dan, we were putting together a show. It was sort of like me saying thank you to everybody that goes to the shop and everybody that has been shopping. We've been open since 2010. I've been in San Antonio for 7 years now. We started in Laredo, Texas. We brought it over here. So it was just a way for me to say just thank you. It just evolved into something, it just evolved into this. And then I was like, well, what if I reach out to this individual? I mean, I've seen their work. I mean, I think they're fantastic. Let me just go ahead and do that. Let me reach out to this promotion. Next thing you know, I'm in Houston, Texas. Shout out to local wrestling. If it ain't local, it ain't fire, daddy. Shout out to Jaime. I was out there in Houston, Texas. My journey has taken me to Uvalde, back to my hometown of Laredo. And not to get too much in detail, but I hadn't talked to the guys in Laredo for years. And this sort of just we just left off. We picked it up right where we left off. And like if we never skipped a beat. And that to me is such a beautiful thing, to have the communication, to rekindle those friendships and move forward with this, So yeah.
So it's gonna be January 15th.
January the 15th.
Rolling Oaks Mall WrestleFest. Looking forward to that. And now at the wrestling shop, I follow you on Instagram, and both with your old location at Crossroads with your new location, I see sometimes you got wrestlers coming in, big time guys, kind of wandering in. Have you ever had a wrestler come in where you didn't know they were going to come in? Like maybe they were just in town for WWE or AEW, and they just show up.
Absolutely.
And like, so you're just there behind the counter, and who's someone who's just surprised you by just showing up to the wrestling shop?
So, man, I don't really want to name drop or anything,
Sure.
right? But
name drop, come on.
Geez, there's just been some great moments. I'll tell you a recent one. Pink Dream, Alex.
Yeah.
Gracia, right? And Scorpio Sky walked into the shop, right? And I was like, this is so random. I was playing golf, and I had just got back from playing golf. Tommy was working the shop, right? And then he goes, "You're never gonna believe this." I go, "Well, what happened, Tommy?" I'm literally walking in. He goes, "Scorpio Sky is here." I go, "Where's he at?" He goes, "I saw him pass by, and Alex said that they're gonna be right back." So this is like just happening,
right?
And I'm all sweaty and everything. I just got back, and man, he's so cool. My goodness, that was just the recent random one, but man. Any given day, man, like it could be a regular Wednesday or Tuesday, and you never know. I met so many wrestlers' parents.
Yeah,
them going into the shop and
they're looking for their kids like toys.
No. I'll tell you another quick story. Blake, he was there at Hyper last night, right? I met his mom first. That I met him. And we got along great and everything. It was fantastic. And she told me, like, my son is Wesley Blake. I was like, oh my goodness, that is so cool. And so I met her first, and then I met him. But yeah, it's such really cool experiences and moments that have happened there. And you just gotta be there. And it's just so random that it happens. But I'll tell you what, it's such a cool and rewarding moment when we're randomly there. And the look in the face of like when there's customers there and it happens.
People start going, wait a minute, is that?
Oh my gosh, it happens.
Because I've heard that actually when you see celebrities, sometimes you see celebrities, you don't expect that it's them. Because I imagine if I was in the wrestling shop and I saw a wrestler come in, I'd probably be like, that can't be the guy. It's probably someone who looks like the guy.
Right.
But it might be the guy.
As long as you're not the guy that walks up to him and say, hey, by the way, you look like
you look like Matt Cardona. Like,
yeah,
I am. No, man, that's funny. So but when the wrestlers walk in, and do they kind of walk in like, yeah, it's me, or do they kind of just play along? They kind of just act like regular customers, or do they come up to you and be like,
it depends. It depends. We've had. I remember. Oh my gosh, I don't want to say this story.
You don't got to tell the name. You can say a wrestler.
So a wrestler walks into the shop. and I had somebody working there, right? And he grabs his action figure, and he tells the lady that was working the counter, "Hey, do you have? Oh, yeah, we have him right here in the elite wall." He grabs the figure and he looks at her and he
He's
makes
like,
like a face like,
yeah,
"It's me."
yeah, it's me. But they didn't get it. They're like,
No, she
"Oh,
got
I finally
it. She
okay."
got it. But she was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, okay." And that was it, right? And oh my gosh, it was something else. But
Because some wrestlers can blend in, like some can't. Like Alex Gracia cannot blend in.
no,
Sasha Banks, if she walked in, cannot blend in. But some of the guys, maybe they have a beard, a bald head, put on a hoodie. They might be able to be incognito. So that's
Right.
fun. So you never know. If you go to the wrestling shop at Rolling Oaks Mall, you'll meet Oscar, but you never know who else is going to walk in there.
oh, you never know. Absolutely,
That's good
100%.
times. That's fun.
Absolutely. So unpredictable. It's
Unpredictable.
so random at times. Think about it. You're walking into the shop. Maybe you're getting a gift, or maybe you're adding to your collection, and all of a sudden, like whoever you're buying as an action figure walks in. That's pretty random and pretty crazy,
Right?
And this has happened, man. It's crazy.
And I got to get to the wrestling shop sometime soon. Last time I was there was actually the day that Alex Gracia and Marty Bell were doing the signing.
Oh yeah.
It was like last May or something.
Right,
like that,
right.
So, and I remember Marty Bell telling me, because I interviewed her on her stream, and she told me like it's funny to go to the wrestling shop and see action figures of her friends, people that she knows, there. So that's cool. Now, what kind of wrestling are you watching these days, though? Besides like having the wrestling shop, like what's your favorite thing going on in wrestling these days?
I am on a rabbit hole watching indies.
Okay.
Especially like, there's a company called APW, Amazing Pro Wrestling. They have a show called Riot. And it's almost like Dan, you got to see it. It's so raw and so like put the camcorder and put record.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that stuff, man. Like, man, I've been watching videos that have like limited views, but they're gems.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, man, people need to watch this. This is great.
So it might just be recorded off of someone's phone, or
yeah. But
it's on Instagram.
It's had some of the I've seen some of the best matches on somebody's phone.
Yeah,
100%. Then other than this, major production, and you have this HD cameras and stuff. Man, I've seen some of the best artistic performances in somebody's recording in their phone.
That's awesome. And we're going to hopefully see some of those artistic performances next Saturday, January 15th, Rolling Oaks Mall, Wrestle Fest. Now, going back, Oscar, into your own origin story, like when did you start watching wrestling? What are your earliest pro wrestling memories?
It couldn't have been when Hogan slammed Andre.
Oh, okay.
But I do have that memory. I think it was my uncle, one of my uncles that he was watching it one time. Maybe he was watching that replay or something, and it just stuck to me. And man, I was just hooked. I remember going to the mall in Laredo, and they had this, like, you remember the WWF coloring books?
I think so.
Back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
So in the center of the page, they had the Intercontinental Championship or the Winged Eagle Championship. Man, I remember like coloring it, right? Like I was a big time Ultimate Warrior fan. My goodness, I remember doing the whole face paint like the Warrior for Halloween and stuff like that. But I remember, my goodness, that Winged Eagle in that coloring book. There was the WWF coloring book, and right in the center it has that. And I remember I bought it and I colored it, and I was so bummed out I couldn't color it no more. So we bought another one, and my mom at her work made copies of that of that page. Man, that was one of the best summers of my life, man. Growing up, just coloring it and doing fantasy color. Oh my gosh, it was so. I'm a big fan of like things like that. Like when Warrior had his belt different. When
the white belt, right?
When they'll customize belts and stuff. A lot of people don't like the spinning concept, that U.S. Championship. I thought it was one of the best championships.
Like the Cena belt?
Man. I thought that was really, really cool. But a lot of people hate it. And
or about the Daniel Bryan, the
organic hemp
one. It was like hemp and no leather.
Oh well, I mean, I'm a major supporter of that. So yes, yeah, absolutely, 100%. So I think that's all great, customs and attires, Dan. I'm a major fan of wrestling attires, like what they wear and stuff. I look forward for every WrestleMania just to see like
the
attires.
outfits.
Yes.
Well, what's interesting too, like speaking of the outfits, like just look back at like the Saudi Arabia shows, and the way that the women have had to find ways to be acceptable within the culture there, but also have great outfits. If you look at like Sasha Banks, and she had this amazing outfit in Saudi Arabia. So, and also just the wrestling robes. That's something that's kind of coming back slowly these days. But the old wrestling robes and just like the presentation of that is good times. But talking about wrestling memories, I wish I could remember when I first started watching wrestling, or what date it was. I wish I had it in my journal or something so I could celebrate it. But my first early wrestling memories are watching Superstars of Wrestling and seeing the lead up to WrestleMania 5, the Mega Powers explode. And that was the first wrestling that I ever watched live was this NBC special. It was the night that the Mega Powers broke up. They were fighting, I think, like the Twin Towers. And that's
I see that look in your eyes.
You got the lust in your. Elizabeth gets taken out, and then Hogan brings her in the back, but Macho's mad, like, "Oh, you got the lust in your eyes for Elizabeth. I see you." And now just that intense storyline, and then the Mega Powers explode. WrestleMania 5, and these are just such great memories, and that's what wrestling's about. And you and I were talking about before the show and I get caught up in this. Sometimes wrestling fans just want to complain. They go, "Oh, I don't like what's on TV." But
that's the easy part.
That's easy. But like, why? There's a point where some wrestling fans need to just go, "I don't like wrestling anymore." If all you do is complain, if you hate everything that's on TV, then don't watch it anymore. Find a new hobby. But there's so much good stuff, and even if there isn't any good stuff, there's a lot of good old stuff. I mean, this wrestling show here, if for some reason all the wrestling sucked, we'll just talk about old wrestling. That's fine. That's fun,
man. You know what we were doing last time at the shop? We were talking about fantasy booking. And right now, though, with this whole thing, and it's easy to say like Forbidden Door and stuff like that, but the fact is that right now wrestling is going through this major change.
Yeah,
I feel like it's gonna be very soon where we might even see like Thunder Rosa versus Charlotte Flair,
dude.
That is, just
or
even mentioning
Britt Baker
like
comes out Royal Rumble or something crazy like that.
Yeah, my goodness.
It's not out of the realm of possibility. It could happen.
Or just today, as we're right here in the studio, Impact Champion tweeted out to Roman Reigns. Can you imagine that? What man?
Moose,
what kind of world are we living in right now that WWE, the biggest promotion in the world, is mentioning Impact and their Knockouts champion? That's fantastic.
Well, I had actually heard, because I hadn't watched SmackDown yet, and I heard that they announced Mickie James is going to be in the Royal Rumble. Well, that's pretty cool. But I told myself, I'm like, I bet they didn't mention that she was at Impact Wrestling. Like, no, they didn't. But they did. They said, "Oh, she's the Impact Knockouts champion." Exactly. They said it on WWE SmackDown TV.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is something different here. This is cool.
Yeah, even with the indies, man. Look what I did last night. I went to Hybrid School of Wrestling to promote the show, right?
January 15th.
January the 15th. Rolling Oak Small.
Gotta throw that in.
For Chris Marvel to say, "Oscar, it's okay for you to come." For everybody that has been allowing for me to doing this, I mean, I've been on this journey going to different promotions, and they've greeted me with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
And for them to do that, this is, man, this is change. This is something different. For a long time, I was fed this idea of like, no, well, we gotta just do this. It's only gonna, and I would always think like, no, man, that there's plenty to go around.
Yeah,
like,
and it's cooperation.
Why if you go wrestle over there, you can come wrestle over here? It's like
choose the side
mentality.
That's like high school. It's like, oh, you're gonna be friends with them. Well, you got to decide. You're gonna be their friend or my friend. It's like, no, we're adults here, and we can help each other. You don't have to do this competition. I mean, same thing like in radio that happens, where it used to be in the old days where, oh, like this radio station hates that radio station, and we're gonna go kick their ass. That's stupid.
Yeah.
And some people are still caught up in that in wrestling, and that's dumb. But what is not dumb, Oscar, is next weekend, January 15th, Rolling Oaks Mall, WrestleFest. I want to be there. I hope everyone's there. Watch this absolutely free wrestling show.
100%.
And go visit the wrestling shop. Go say hi to Oscar and just have fun with wrestling.
Hey,
It's supposed to be fun.
We're having a cosplay contest as well.
Yeah.
Dress as your favorite wrestler for a chance to win a $100 gift card from the shop. Plus, I got a bunch of really cool stuff. And I think it's going to be fantastic for, they're going to be going out there dressed up as, I mean, man, who knows? We might even have like a fantasy creation right there. We might see a Kenny Omega cosplay with John Cena cosplay right next to each other taking pictures.
And it will be January 15th. Oscar Zamarron, thank you so much for joining us on San Antonio Wrestling Showcase. We'll see you guys next week, 9 p.m. Sunday nights, right here on 930. The Answer.